Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Horror Trans. My name is Stephanie Bree. I am a transgender woman, and I talk about all things horror. And today's horror icon is Sir Christopher Lee, the British actor who has been in everything you've ever seen. Um, he was Count Dooku. He was the bad guy in The Lord of the Rings. I forget his name because The Lord of the Rings is god awful. Takes fucking 3 weeks to watch one of those movies. He's been in a bajillion Tim Burton films. Um, he was in Gremlins 2, but he's most famous for his early horror movies and his work with the Hammer films. He was Dracula in the Hammer films. Christopher Lee, um, he's British, and he's sort of what you would call an auteur. He's an artist, and he's done a little bit of everything. He's done music. He's done acting, all kinds of acting, and he's just done a lot of stuff. Notably, let's talk about some of his notable appearances. Obviously, his big claim to fame is the Hammer horror films, um, which he did uh, spanning 2 decades. He did a ton of Hammer horror films. Curse of Frankenstein. He was the monster. He's been in a bunch of the what do you call it? The Dracula movies, the vampire movies. Um, and it just looks like he's done a little bit of everything. He's done a ton of the Hammer films. Uh, it looks like he's even been in The Mummy, um, or the Hammer version of The Mummy. Dracula, Prince of Darkness, a whole bunch of Hammer films. And then Um, and then he came to Hollywood and he did some, regular movies for a while. Um, Getting back into his horror roots with an appearance, mostly a cameo, but kind of an appearance in Gremlins 2, The New Batch, where he plays the mad scientist doing the mad scientist thing, turning the gremlins into experiments, veggie gremlin, lightning gremlin, bat gremlin, etc. Um, and then he got like shot into the stratosphere among nerds, not just horror fans, but nerds, when he played the bad guy in The Lord of the Rings. And then again, he played Count Dooku in Star Wars Attack of the Clones. Um, Obviously, if you watch my other channel, you know I am not a fan of The Lord of the Rings, but I am a fan of Star Wars. Um, I'll get into it one of these days, because I know people are scratching their heads like, what the fuck? I'll get into it. Don't worry. I'll get into it. I'll fucking get into it one of these days. But anyways, yeah, Christopher Lee, prolific career, lived to be 93 years old. Did a little bit of everything, but a true horror icon. And he has been in a bajillion movies. You've probably seen a bunch of them you didn't even know he was in, or when you see him, you're like, hey, it's that guy. If you didn't know who he was, now you know who he is. Stay cool.